If you're watching this video, it's probably because your goal is to start your project management career this year. Now, the exact steps that you take to actually transition into this career is what's going to determine whether you're successful with making this career transition. So in this video, I'm going to cover every single thing that you need to know so that you can make that transition into project management. And at the end of this video, I'm going to share a lot of the common questions that I got from viewers throughout the past year, and hopefully it'll be very helpful for you. Okay, so first of all, let's just start with why project management is a great career choice. So here's the thing, project management is not just about managing timelines and budgets, it's about creating real impact. So whether you're helping a company launch a new product, or let's say you're helping them implement a new system upgrade, or maybe you're helping the company improve their business processes, or even planning a large-scale event. Either way, you're the one that's leading the way. And in my opinion, there are three great things about project management in general. So first of all is the high demand. According to the Project Management Institute, there is a need for 25 million project management professionals by the year 2030. And then the second great thing about project management is the pay. You can receive great pay. So if you're starting out, entry-level roles start around $60,000, and this is in the US. And then mid-level to senior level project management roles are easily in the six figures. And then the third great thing that I love are the diverse opportunities. So whether you work in IT, you work in healthcare, you work in marketing, construction, whatever that may be, pharmaceuticals, there are project management opportunities. Project management is needed everywhere. So if you're looking for a career that's versatile, it's impactful, and it's needed everywhere, then project management is a great choice for you. And luckily, you're in the right place. Okay, so now let's talk about how to get started. The first thing that you need to do with this career transition is to just start by assessing your transferable skills. Most people don't realize that they have valuable skills that would make them a great project manager. So there's a couple things you can ask yourself. Are you organized? Can you lead a team? Have you managed a budget or a timeline? If you've said yes to any of those things, then that means that you have critical project management skills. So the first thing that you need to do is just take some time and write down the strengths and the skills that you have that translate over to project management. Or start thinking about the skills that you do have and how they could be critical or helpful for managing projects. All right, so now the second thing that you need to do is make sure that you understand the basics of project management. If you are completely new to project management or you have no experience at all, make sure that you understand the basics of project management before you start applying for jobs. Make sure that you have a general idea of what a project is. What is the role of a project manager? What does that even entail? What does that include? And then also make sure that you just understand the common industry terms like scope and stakeholders and know what risks are. Things like that are important before you just completely jump full into project management. And so a lot of questions that I get are around what courses to take, which ones you should not take, things like that. So in terms of if you want to learn the basics of project management, here's what I recommend. I'm going to give you two options. If you're not 100% sure that this is the career that you want to jump into, this first option would be the cheapest route that you can take. So the first thing that I recommend is to go on udemy.com. When you go on Udemy, I want you to search for their project management courses that are on Udemy. Now, specifically, the course that I want you to look up is this. You're going to search for courses that fulfill the 25-hour PDU requirement to take the CAPM certification, and I'll explain why more. Now, the reason why I specifically want you to look up these types of courses is because if you do complete this entire course on Udemy, you then fulfill the requirements to get the CAPM certification from the Project Management Institute. Now, the great thing about udemy.com is that a lot of their courses are very cheap and affordable, meaning you can typically find sales on the website or get some type of free trial so that you're not spending a lot of money up front because you don't know if you really want to fully commit to this yet. And now if you decide that you want to move forward and actually pursue a certification, an industry certification, then you can then move on to the CAPM certification provided by the Project Management Institute. I won't go fully into that in detail on this video just because it's a lot of information. I have an entire video that's dedicated to the CAPM certification. So if you have not seen that video, I'll be sure to include a link to that in the top right corner. And again, these options are for people who are just trying to learn the basics of project management. I'm not speaking to anyone who has experience and who's interested in the PMP because I know that's also a very important topic and question that I get a lot. This is simply for those who have no experience, no exposure whatsoever to projects, and they just want to learn the basics. Okay, so now let's move on to the second option when it comes to learning the basics. The second option that I recommend is the Google Project Management Certificate. So Google offers a 7-day trial for this, and the reason why I recommend this as the second option that's a little more costly is because this option will cost you $50 a month after that trial. So I know that you can essentially learn the basics on Udemy, or you can actually pay more and take their course. There are some people who feel like, this certificate is what they need so that they can get jobs and things like that. It is possible. However, I do want to emphasize that the industry standard when it comes to project management is the Project Management Institute. And it's the PMP certification. So yes, you can add the Google certificate to your resume to show that you've taken courses on project management, but it's not a certification. It is a certificate to show that you've taken Google's course. So I just want to make sure that I point out that difference. So in terms of learning the basics, option 1 is to go on Udemy and search for courses that would qualify for the 25-hour PDU requirement. And you'll see them because it'll say CAPM, it'll say project management course, it may say CAPM certification course, and it'll also include 25-hour requirement. Now, the second option is the Google Project Management Certificate course. That is also an option that you can take, and I believe on average it takes people about 3 months to complete that course. Either way, both of them are self-paced, and I just want to share those two options with you. So honestly, it's just based on your preference, how much money you want to spend, but either way, this is just going to help you to learn the basics. All right, so those are two options for anyone who wants to learn the basics of project management, for anyone who just wants to know or get a feel for what they're getting themselves into. All right, so now that you've learned the basics, or you at least know what to do to learn the basics, the next thing that you need to do is figure out your entry point. So the great thing about project management is that you don't have to jump straight into a project manager role, especially if you're very new, you have no experience at all or little experience. You don't have to just jump straight into a project manager role. There's different routes that you can take to get into project management. And so if you have not seen my previous video, I made an entire video on all of the entry-level roles that you can pursue to get into project management. So an example or a few examples of those roles would be things like project coordinators, assistant project managers, junior project managers, project analysts, business analysts. There's so many different titles or entry-level roles that you can pursue, and the exact title will be based on the industries that you work in. So if you work in IT, they may be a little different from the titles, the entry-level titles that you may see in healthcare or in construction, right? So make sure that you check out that video if you're not familiar with any of the entry-level roles, because searching for project manager job roles when you have little to no experience may not do you any justice, because you're probably going to see that they want you to have at least several years of experience for most of those project manager roles. So like I said, if you're not familiar with entry-level job roles in your target industry, make sure that you watch that video. All right, let's talk about certifications, because this is the most common question that I get, which I'll admit I do have videos on them, so I completely expected this to be probably the most common question that I get. But let's just talk about certifications. So the biggest question that I get when it comes to certifications is, do you need a certification to become a project manager or to work in project management? So the short answer for that for me is it depends on the jobs that you're applying for. There is no cut and dry answer as far as yes, you do need them or no, you don't. It depends. And here's why. I know that there's going to be some people in the comments, well,
I got my job without a certification, and you don't need a certification, don't listen to that, and da-da-da.
That's great for you, but the way that my channel works and the information that I share is based on what will be valuable for the majority of people, right? Your unique situation is not going to apply to every single person. So this is why I try to give people the best advice based on data and the information that's out there and that I have access to. And I want people to remember that now in this day and age, the job market is tough, and it's tough across all industries. When I share information, I'm sharing information to help you stand out amongst other professionals who are applying for the same jobs that you're applying for, so that you can have better chances of at least getting the interview and moving on to the next round. If you are applying for a job and there's 10 other people applying for the same job, and let's say 5 of them have the same experience you do, but they also have their certification, who do you think is more likely to get an interview or move on to the next round? So that's why I just want to set people up for success. People try to typically take the easier route and say, oh, I can just do it without it. And then once they have a tough time, they feel like, oh, this is impossible. It's just not for me. I'm speaking to those who are really willing to put in the work and do what it takes to stand out amongst other professionals who are applying probably for the same roles in the same industries that they are. Okay, so let's move on. So if you want to stand out amongst other job applicants when you're out applying for jobs, then I do recommend that you get your certification. Now, when you are searching for these jobs, typically you'll see whether or not the job actually requires a certification, which is why I said that my answer depends. But when you check these jobs, right, you can actually do your own research and research your target industry and the roles that you want to pursue, and you can see whether or not a certification is required for you. Maybe you found several jobs that don't even mention a certification, so then that means that you probably don't need a certification. So if you are searching these jobs and you do see that it's a minimum requirement or a preferred qualification for you to have a project management certification, then there's your answer. Now, when it comes to certifications, if you're new to project management, you've never really done it in any of your past jobs, or you've kind of somewhat done it, but it's still something pretty new to you, then I highly recommend pursuing the Certified Associate in Project Management, otherwise known as the CAPM certification. That certification is provided by the Project Management Institute, which is considered the gold standard when it comes to project management, right? So if you want any information about project management or any data related to project management in the career field, then you would always go to the Project Management Institute. And I preach about PMI all the time on my channel, so that's why I highly recommend that you pursue the CAPM certification if that's what you want to do, if this is a career that you want to pursue. The CAPM certification will essentially allow you to really learn the ropes, and it's really beginner friendly, which is good for anyone who's wanting to really learn the basics. Now, in terms of certifications, if you have at least 3 years of experience managing projects or being a part of project work in your career, then I recommend skipping the CAPM certification and going for the Project Management Professional certification, otherwise known as the PMP certification. Now, I have an entire video on the PMP certification, so I'm not going to go into detail of that here in this video. So I will include a link to that in the top right corner so that you can watch that video. But either way, just remember certifications are just one piece of the puzzle. If you have little to no experience with managing projects or being a part of projects, then just know a certification alone is not going to guarantee a job for you. In addition to certifications, make sure that you focus on building your project management skills and demonstrating them. Okay, so now let's talk about how you can make yourself job ready. When you're ready to start applying for jobs, let's start talking about what you need to do for your resume. You want to make sure that your resume highlights your transferable skills and any past accomplishments that you've had at previous jobs. So, for example, if you have experience with coordinating budgets or schedules, then make sure that somewhere on your resume for that specific work experience, you have something on there that says something like developed project budgets or project timelines, anything like that. And also you can even add to that and ensured on-time delivery. After you update your resume, make sure that your LinkedIn is updated too, because a lot of employers go to LinkedIn just to check and see if they can find you, find more about your background, your work history, and also they probably also want to see a good photo of you as well. So make sure that your profile photo is also up to date. While you're on LinkedIn, my tip is to try to connect with other project managers or project management professionals that you may know or be aware of. And you can also try to connect with recruiters as well that you may even see who are promoting project management job positions. These are also things that you can do while you're updating your LinkedIn. 85% of job positions are filled through just either networking or just knowing someone already. So make sure that you join either LinkedIn groups or you join your local PMI chapter, because you can do that too, even if you're not certified, okay? So make sure that you take advantage of the Project Management Institute. Or if you attend job fairs, anything like that, just try to continue to meet people, connect, because you never know what job opportunities may come across you just from knowing people or being introduced to people. And you can also use these experiences, these conversations to start really building your confidence and also just learning either new skills or information from others who are already in the career field. Last but not least, you don't have to wait for a job title to start gaining project management experience. If you are not currently in project management, but you want to start gaining experience, there's a couple things that you can do. Depending on the type of job that you currently have now, you can try to start volunteering to lead projects at work. Or let's say if you're active in your community or your church, you can see if you can get involved with projects there as well and just volunteer to either lead or be a part of a project, right? You don't have to necessarily be the leader and take the full accountability, right? You can just join the project team. And then also just personally, you can also try to manage projects around the house just to kind of even get a feel for, starting to make schedules for that project or knowing what it's like to really kind of track tasks and activities, things like that. That'll also give you good experience as well, just so that you can start getting familiar with the skills that come with the job. But either way, use these different types of experiences to build your confidence and really start to build the skill set. Okay, so those are the steps that you need to take to transition into project management. So now let's dive into some of the very common questions that I got throughout the past year. Okay, so one common question that I did get is, do I write resumes for people? And the short and quick answer is no. So this is something that I actually offer in my project management career blueprint program, where I help you know exactly what you need to put on your resume, but not only showing you what to put on there, but also giving you that guidance so that anytime you feel like you need to update your resume or tailor it to a specific job, you have access to me weekly. We can sit down and we can make sure that you get that done. So if that's something that you're interested in, send me an email. I'll include an email here. Reach out to me and then we can talk more about what you need and if my program is the best fit for you. Okay, so another common question that I've gotten, and I'm looking through my phone here. So another common question that I've gotten about the CAPM certification is someone asked, how long does it take to prepare for this exam? And honestly, I'll say on average, I've seen people prepare for that exam within 30 days. So meaning they took the course, they studied, and they passed it. The CAPM certification isn't as difficult as the PMP certification, and that's for a reason. It's designed for people who want to learn the basics and who are beginners. So if you take the steps that I recommend and make sure that you go back and watch the CAPM certification video that I did, I truly believe you could get the CAPM certification within 30 days. Now, if you're tight on time, so you work a lot, you don't really have time to do a lot of studying, and you can only study a little here and there, then it may take you longer. But I've seen people get their CAPM certification within 30 days or less. Okay, and so in terms of resources to pass the CAPM certification, because I also saw comments and questions about that. So in that video, I actually go over the resources that you need for the CAPM certification. I highly recommend any study materials by Rita Mulkey. I don't even know if I said her name right. What I'll do is I'll include a link to the CAPM certification study resources. So these are study resources for not only just the CAPM certification, but for the PMP certification as well. So check the link in the description below for any study resources that you need to pass these certification exams. Okay, and so another very common question that I get is, does the Google Project Management certificate qualify for jobs, or is it accepted by jobs? And the answer is yes, but I do want to caution you, because most jobs, when you my laptop just went off. So most jobs do not ask you to have the Google Project Management Certificate. You're not going to see a lot of job postings that say Google Project Management Certificate, right? If anything, if they do require a certification, you're going to see Project Management Professional Certification or Certified Associate in Project Management, okay? So yes, you can take that Google Project Management Certificate course and get that certificate, but it's not a certification, and you're probably going to see little to any jobs at all that actually want you to have that certificate. If you have it on your resume, which you should if you complete the course, it's going to show that you took steps to learn more about project management, right? But it's not showing that you have a certification by a respected organization in project management. And so for project management, it's the Project Management Institute. All right, and so another very common question that I get is how to pass these exams, right? So if you watch either the PMP certification video that I have or the CAPM certification, then I share tips on how to pass these exams. But some quicker tips, high level tips, is one, you need to make yourself a study calendar, okay? That means dedicate time every single day, whether it's 30 minutes or it's an hour, to studying, because this is going to help you to move through the material quickly and also get into a habit of studying. Once you do that, then you want to make sure that you sit down and do a lot of practice questions. Lots and lots of practice questions, and incorporate that at the end of your studying too. Every day you can do at least maybe 5 practice questions, because those will really help you. And then last but not least, make sure that you take practice exams, full length practice exams, and not only just take them, while you're sitting in your house around people, but take them as if you're taking a real exam. So you could close the door, you can, even maybe have it up on your computer, whatever it is to kind of simulate the real testing environment. That's going to help you so much. And what you can do is, or at least the standard that I held for myself, is that I wanted to make sure for each practice exam, I scored 80% or better on each exam. And once I did that 3 times in a row, that's when I knew that I was ready to take the real exam. Now for the real exam, you don't have to actually score 80% or better, but that was just for me to know that, okay, I'm doing really well on these practice exams, then I know for sure I can pass the real exam. So that's the tips that I have for you. All right, so those are the most common questions that I typically get when it comes to transitioning into project management. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, I hope this video was helpful for you. I'm going to continue putting out more content, but my content going forward is going to be more so about how to build your skills as a project manager, being more confident as a project manager, and things like that. So like I said, if you need any more help or advice, make sure that you leave me a comment down below, and I will see you all in my next video.